Join us every Wednesday for InFocus, a weekly talk show produced by the SKNIS Information Service, where we provide exclusives with key persons within the government and discuss pertinent, relevant, and interesting matters that affect us all. Tune in every Wednesday, live on ZIZ Radio and streamed live on Facebook at SKNIS Media and ZIZ Online. InFocus, your government, your business.
A weekly program when we take a closer look at what's happening within and across the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, your government. From Monday, September 29 to Friday, October 3rd, 2025, the Eyes of the Caribbean will be on St. Kitts and Nevis as we host the 19th Caribbean Week of Agriculture, the premier event on the regional agricultural calendar. Now, this is where farmers, fishers, policymakers, scientists, and investors from across the region come together to exchange ideas, showcase innovations, and build partnerships. Of course, building networks is also an important aspect there. Now, also that same week, it's the 30th anniversary of the Agriculture Open Day and Marine Expo here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and that will be held at the Royal Bastia Valley National Park. This showcase has grown over 3 decades into the Federation's signature platform for celebrating our farmers, fishers, our food, and our culture. Joining us today to share more about these events are Chaira Flanders, Communication Lead at the Ministry of Agriculture, and Millicent McSheene, Chair of the Agriculture Open Day Committee. Stay with us for InFocus, your government, your business.
If you haven't done it as yet, please do it today. Subscribe to our YouTube page at SKNIS Media for regular updates, live coverage, and even more information on your government. While you're at it, like, share, and interact with our Facebook and Instagram pages at SKNIS Media and SKNIS Info.
Thanks for staying with us and allow me to welcome Ms. Flanders back to InFocus. Of course, she is a regular guest as agriculture is an important sector that we feature here from time to time. But for the first time, we also have Millicent McSheene. Good afternoon to you, ladies.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Ian. Thank you for having us back.
Right. All right. So, Ms. Flanders, we'll start off with you as we're going to touch on the 19th Caribbean Week of Agriculture. And as I mentioned at the top, it takes place from September 29 to October 3rd. Give us a sense of what the week is all about.
Okay, well, first off, the CWA, or the 19th Caribbean Week of Agriculture, CWA 2025, is being held under the theme Sowing Change, Harvesting Resilience, Transforming Our Caribbean Food Systems for 2025 and beyond. And based on that footing, as you can already assume, this particular week of activities, it's going to serve as a high-level forum. And this particular forum is where the policymakers, entrepreneurs, farmers, our agri-stakeholders, our fishers, anyone in particular from the agricultural sector will come together and align the strategies, address the various challenges, and adopt policies that can help to shape the development of the agricultural sector, not just in St. Kitts and Nevis, but for the region.
And I understand that, it's a big event. I think a description that I once heard was that it's almost like the Chaira Festa for agriculture. The way Chaira Festa is for culture, that it represents the same for St. Kitts, for agriculture. Talk to us a bit about the importance of that.
Yes, it is. It is a premier event. This is CARICOM's flagship agricultural event, and this major showcase is taking place in St. Kitts and Nevis, which gives us the spotlight from the 29th of September until the 3rd of October. So you can only imagine, if they're calling it the Chaira Festa of agriculture, then you already know that it's a big deal.
And the importance of hosting it here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Of course, we are transitioning to a sustainable island state. What does that mean for St. Kitts and Nevis?
Well, as part of the Sustainable Island State agenda, we want to promote climate resilience. And one of the most important things to address is ensuring that our food producers have multiple avenues to make money. We also want to make sure that these avenues help to protect not just the crops, but the livestock. And it also helps to secure the fishers' catch. How do we do that? We want to ensure that our agricultural stakeholders use innovative technology in their day-to-day operations. So, for example, when you sit to have these conversations with these stakeholders, you think about the farmers who for many, many years have only toiled using their hands in the soil. But another alternative is using greenhouse technology. You also want to consider the fact that water is a scarcity. How do we resolve the issues with water unless we introduce many different methods? And one that we know for certain is the drip line irrigation system that allows the farmers the opportunity to feed their animals with the water as well as to hydrate their crops.
And that speaks to the agricultural side of it and the livestock side, which of course most persons focus on as it relates to agriculture.
Yes.
That is what they primarily think about. But there's also the marine side, which of course is also a part of the ministry, a very important part as well.
Yes, that is true. And this year we are going to have what we call the fringe event aspect of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture. And so we're going to give the Marine Resources, the Department of Marine Resources in Kitts and Nevis, the opportunity as well to participate and to promote awareness during that week. We have, I believe it is the seafood night that is scheduled. Yes, that is free to the public, and it will be held at the Old Road Fisheries Complex during the week. I think that would be on the Thursday. I will back check, but we do have quite a number of activities lined up during the week.
Right. Okay. And can you talk to us a bit about now how the conference itself will run? What will happen?
As in from Monday right down to Friday?
Yes. Well, not every detail, of course. Like, I imagine, of course.
Because I was going to ask you, when were we going to leave the studio today, Ian?
There's going to be theoretical, technical visits, perhaps, as part of that. Give us a sense of what the delegates will be involved with.
We have a bunch of activities scheduled, like I said, but most importantly are the educational, the seminars. And throughout the conference in particular, we do have our partners who will be hosting several seminars throughout. Now, the beginning, which is Monday, September 29th, is our opening ceremony. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of all of the various seminars, we do begin with an official opening ceremony, yes, at 9 a.m., and that will be held at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort. All of the various events will be held at the Marriott Resort during that time. We will be using several rooms at the Marriott Resort, so we may have multiple activities happening all at the same time. And so we're going to release a schedule so that persons would be able to keep up with all of the various activities that are scheduled throughout the entire week.
Right, okay. And so can you give us a sense then in terms of the participation? Who can we expect to attend these conferences?
We want everyone to attend. Everyone.
Yes.
We want the entire general public of St. Kitts and Nevis, along with the neighboring islands, are invited. They're invited to attend the Caribbean Week of Agriculture 2025 because, like I said, this is a high-level forum. This actually gives persons in the sector the opportunity to ask the questions that they've been wanting to ask. And because we are expecting over 300, well, now it's up to 400 because yesterday I was told 300. This morning I was told that it's now 400. So over 400 delegates are expected to be on island to participate, to mix and mingle, have discussions, discuss the different policies. How can we make things better for the agricultural sector across the region? And this is something that is coming off of the decision that was made earlier this year. I don't know if you remember, Ian, but the president of Guyana, Dr. Irfan Ali, he made the announcement, I think it was back in February, stating that the 25 by 25 agenda has been transformed into the 25 by 5, no, 25, yeah, no, 25 by 25 plus 5.
Right.
Yes, it's the 25, yes, so it has been transformed. So Dr. Irfan Ali made the announcement that the 25 by 25 agenda has been transformed into the 25 by 25 plus 5, which in short is the 25 by 30. And that means for the region, we are now being tasked with the responsibility of attaining our food security goals by 2030. So it has moved beyond 2025 and it's now been pushed to 2030. And of course, that means that forums like this one are exceptionally important because we get to learn from persons across the region like Guyana, who already started working towards reducing their food imports long before St. Kitts and Nevis joined in to take part in the CARICOM Agenda 25.
Mm-hmm. Right, and of course, as you mentioned, the 25 by 25, it's the mark was missed in some respects by, I think, most, if not all, of the CARICOM member states. Could you talk to us about St. Kitts and Nevis's efforts as it relates to meeting that agenda and where we are?
Well, currently we're still doing the work. The work never stopped, which is a good thing because we weren't looking for an extension. We weren't looking for a deadline. So having the lead from Guyana make a statement like that when we know that Guyana's numbers were much higher than several countries from across the region, it literally brings into perspective that there had to have been multiple reasons why this extension took place. And one of the factors that, you know, we can actually talk about now is the fact that the climate challenges, the reduced rainfall, all of these things play a role in the production of your crops. All of these things play a role in the way how fishers fish. If the weather is bad, we can't go out to sea. And if we can't go out to sea, we can't catch. And that is a problem. So your numbers will decline accordingly. And of course, it would be different based on the country because there are lots of different factors that will determine what your challenges are. But we know for certain that the work has not stopped and the work will continue because, as the Minister of Agriculture stated in many presentations, that the 25 by 25 agenda was not just for 2025. It was for 25 and beyond. So to hear now that this has been extended for countries other than St. Kitts and Nevis, it gives us some sort of hope that we are truly on the right path and we're trying to do the work to get there.
In terms of the participation, now of course you mentioned that it's up to close to some 400 delegates, which of course is important. And you mentioned that you would like to have as many persons in St. Kitts and Nevis participate. Now, of course, there'll be some sessions that they may not be able to. I imagine that there'll be some sort of a ministerial forum and some closed sessions as well, so that will be made by persons from who are here representing different organizations, and we can talk about the organizations that we can expect in a bit. But in terms of persons who are locals, farmers, fishers, agro-processors, or whatever, can you give us a sense of how they'll be able to participate in what session that may be available for them as well? Because I imagine registration is important there.
The registration is absolutely important, and the registration is what we're using to track how many persons will be in attendance. And so it's really important for persons to register. We're not saying that there is a charge, like I mentioned earlier. There isn't a charge for you to attend because we want the public to be there. But I can tell you about several of the events. There is one in particular that I know. It's being hosted by CRFM, and CRFM is hosting a seminar that is titled From Sargassum to Biostimulant. This is a forum that is inviting both fishers as well as farmers, and they're being invited to register so that they can sit in and learn as much as they possibly can. Now, another thing that I want to point out is throughout the week, I could give you a list of just several of the activities that will be taking place.
But before you continue, I just want to mention that the CRFM, that would be the Caribbean Regional Fisheries Mechanism.
Yes, that is correct. I'm so used to calling the acronyms, I forgot to mention the entire thing. You know, when you're working in the field, it comes off just like that. But yes, you are absolutely correct. We have another, and that is the Fueling Change, Transforming the Sector. We have the ICA, Farmer-Led Innovations.
Let's go with the acronym again.
Yeah, I know. Reducing Talk, Increasing Action. We have another session that is the Linking Animal Identification and Traceability with the Regional Risk Analysis, Veterinarians as Guardians for Safe Food. We also have another one that is being hosted by the FAO, which is the Food and Agriculture Organization, and that is the Caribbean Food Systems Investment Initiative, and that is titled Charting the Way Forward. And this one I will end with, the Agri Solutions, No Waste, Big Taste. And I use this one because this one is the one that I remembered from my head because I thought it was so creative that they decided to name it No Waste, Big Taste. Yes, to grasp the attention, of course, of those persons who may be interested. But there are several activities that we have lined up, and like I said, this high-level forum gives persons the opportunity to sit in, make notes, ask questions. If you are a farmer and you are having trouble at your farm, and you feel like you've asked persons on island or you've been looking on YouTube to see if you can find an answer, maybe someone from St. Lucia might be experiencing the same problem that you are having. This forum gives you that opportunity to now collaborate and ask as many questions as you would like, and perhaps find the solutions to all of the unanswered questions.
And that's the importance of bringing persons together. Ms. McSheene, you could probably weigh in as well too, of bringing persons together who can share their experiences, who can share their best practices, who can share their ideas, so that we are all in a better position in whatever field we are. And in this case, we are speaking about agriculture, which covers livestock. We're also talking about marine and also agro-processing. Right. For us to have that exchange of ideas and that exchange of information so that we can improve our production or whatever area of fields that we're in.
Yes.
Ms. Flanders?
I was about to let her lead.
Oh. Sorry. So you were asking
about the importance of having all of those persons with different stories, the best practices that can be shared, the networking that can be done.
Of course, we can. We all can learn from each other. So, one of the other countries may be doing their agricultural stuff a different way from the way we do it, and their way might be more productive than the way we are handling it. We can always learn from each other and, put up different practices into place where, we can better what we are doing in terms of our agricultural sector and fisheries. And
Right, and Ms. Flanders, they can also have the opportunity of learning from us as well.
Yes,
Right.
and to
Vice
add to
versa.
that, I think that it strengthens our research capabilities,
Yes.
and we know how important research in agriculture is. Lots of science
Yes,
in agriculture,
definitely.
lots of science. To be honest with you, agriculture has so much math. I really underestimated how much math we have in agriculture, math and science. But as she said, just to add to that, the collaboration is important because we're learning from each other. And not only that, we learn about our strengths and our weaknesses as we work to build a resilient food system across the region.
And having that discussion on climate change and resiliency, I know that, of course, the government has its drip irrigation program, which is drought resilience. Correct with the I, the drought resilience
Yes, irrigation.
program, right? I was forgetting what's the I stood for.
Irrigation.
Right. Okay, so we have those in place, and so those are things that we can help to share with our neighbors and to see how St. Kitts and Nevis is actively tackling these challenges that we have. And it's important because, of course, you consider some of the statements that are being made at the United Nations. I believe the climate change was described as a con job by some persons, which suggests that, there may not be that type of heightened interest, which could help to unfortunately, undermine the efforts of states much like St. Kitts and Nevis and other small island developing states that really are confronting issues that are very real to them.
That is true. That is true. And another thing that I can add to that, as we speak about building resilient food systems, that is, when we think about sustainability, sustainable agricultural sector, sustainable fisheries sector, one of the most important things is ensuring that St. Kitts and Nevis has a stronger disaster response, right? Because we are a small island developing nation, which means that we are susceptible to lots of risks that affect the sector. One of the examples that I can give you that I know for certain has been helpful is the most recent shortage of eggs in the U.S. We know that that was a major problem a few months ago. Mm-hmm. There were several memes on the internet. They were making so many jokes about the egg shortage, and it really did not affect St. Kitts and Nevis the way that I'm sure many persons were expecting it to. And that is because we have been working diligently to ensure that we produce our own eggs. And one of the methods used to curtail challenges like that was the opening of the Bayfords, the hatchery.
The chicken hatchery.
Right. And we now know that that hatchery has been producing eggs that poultry farmers here on the island can go and use so that they can produce their own eggs at their farms. They can purchase the chicks from the Bayfords hatchery, and that is all thanks to the work of the Taiwan Technical Mission, yes, and the Ministry of Agriculture.
Okay, and also I want to touch on, well, let me go back to the registration part of it, because I think it's important that we establish that right now before I continue along the path of climate resilience, which of course is an important theme, as you mentioned at the top. How can persons register to participate in the sessions?
CWA website. There's a website for the CWA, Caribbean Week of Agriculture. You have the website. I think the website is CWA2025.org.
CARICOM.org.
Yeah, CARICOM.org.
Yes, so for those persons who are interested, the website for registration for the Caribbean Week of Agriculture seminars is cwa2025.caricom.org.
And in terms of the sessions, while you would like to have persons attending in terms of sitting and listening to panels and different presentations that are being made, do we have locals who are going to be making presentations or leading different sessions and leading discussions?
Yes, we do. Yes, I mean, we are the host country. We are the host country, very small but Talawa, and we want to ensure that our participation serves far beyond just hosting. So we will also be participating.
Okay. All right. So we're going to take our first break, Ms. Flanders, and then we're going to come back and speak a bit more about the theme which you established earlier, and I'll just go through it again, which will be Sowing Change, Harvesting Resilience, Transforming Caribbean Food Systems for 2025 and beyond. Right. So stay with us, viewers and listeners. We'll be right back with more In Focus.
If you haven't done it as yet, please do it today. Subscribe to our YouTube page at SKNIS Media for regular updates, live coverage, and even more information on your government. While you're at it, like, share, and interact with our Facebook and Instagram pages at SKNIS Media and SKNIS Info. If you haven't done it as yet, please do it today. Subscribe to our YouTube page at SKNIS Media for regular updates, live coverage, and even more information on your government. While you're at it, like, share, and interact with our Facebook and Instagram pages at SKNIS Media and SKNIS Info. If you haven't done it as yet, please do it today. Subscribe to our YouTube page at SKNIS Media for regular updates, live coverage, and even more information on your government. While you're at it, like, share, and interact with our Facebook and Instagram pages at SKNIS Media and SKNIS Info. If you haven't done it as yet, please do it today. Subscribe to our YouTube page at SKNIS Media for regular updates, live coverage, and even more information on your government. While you're at it, like, share, and interact with our Facebook and Instagram pages at SKNIS Media and SKNIS Info. If you haven't done it as yet, please do it today. Subscribe to our YouTube page at SKNIS Media for regular updates, live coverage, and even more information on your government. While you're at it, like, share, and interact with our Facebook and Instagram pages at SKNIS Media and SKNIS Info. If you haven't done it as yet, please do it today. Subscribe to our YouTube page at SKNIS Media for regular updates, live coverage, and even more information on your government. While you're at it, like, share, and interact with our Facebook and Instagram pages at SKNIS Media and SKNIS Info. If you haven't done it as yet, please do it today. Subscribe to our YouTube page at SKNIS Media for regular updates, live coverage, and even more information on your government. While you're at it, like, share, and interact with our Facebook and Instagram pages at SKNIS Media and SKNIS Info.
Welcome back to In Focus. We continue our discussion about the Caribbean Week of Agriculture and, of course, the open day that will take place here in St. Kitts and Nevis later this month, starts on September 29th. And our guests today are Chaira Flanders, who is the communication lead within the Ministry of Agriculture, Marine Resources, etc., and also Ms. Millicent McSheene, who is the committee chair for the Agriculture Open Day. All right, Ms. Flanders, before we left, we spoke a bit more about the climate change and resilience that's important for St. Kitts and Nevis and Caribbean Islands and other smaller and developing states to have as it relates to agriculture and marine management of our resources. And so again, I'll repeat the theme for this year's Caribbean Week of Agriculture, and it's actually the 19th Caribbean Week of Agriculture, and the theme is Sowing Change, Harvesting Resilience, Transforming Caribbean Food Systems for 2025 and beyond. Now, how does this theme relate and translate to the realities here in St. Kitts and Nevis? You touched on it some, but let's get a bit more deeper.
Well, we know that St. Kitts, like many of the other small island developing states, relies heavily on imported food. And the focus, based on the theme, is to transform the agricultural sector and the Caribbean food systems 2025 and beyond. The best way to do that, in my belief, is to start by tackling the policies, and along with tackling the policies, it is tackling the challenges. And we touched briefly on some of the challenges just before the break, but one of the things that I didn't get to touch on is also the financing. There's lots of financing that you need in agriculture, whether it is farming insurance, fishing insurance. We know that farming has a lot of risks in it, right? Because it is a very vulnerable, extremely vulnerable sector. I think that forums like the Caribbean Week of Agriculture help to bridge that gap as it relates to the discussion about financing. These forums help us to identify where we need to invest heavily, because we have areas that we know now, are doing much better than they were before because of the strategies that were implemented during the 25 by 25 agenda rollout. So we're now at the stage where we need to identify the areas that desperately need the injection of funding so that we can, in fact, transform the sector. So I am looking forward to Caribbean Week of Agriculture as well, because it would also be a learning opportunity for officers like myself who are working in agriculture and may not necessarily always be in the field to know exactly what these areas are, but we do have officers like our field agents who help to contribute to this conversation, and then that conversation is then translated to our policymakers.
And so ideally, how do you see local farmers, local fishers, local agro-processors taking advantage of the opportunities that will be offered by hosting CWA here in St. Kitts and Nevis?
Well, conversations like strengthening our agro-processing, that's one of the things that I know for certain that will be discussed. And the benefits of the agro-processing in St. Kitts and Nevis will help us to alleviate the wasting of food, right? Because if you want to achieve food security, you need to always make sure that there is something to eat. And having something to eat always means you cannot be wasting food. Another area is the diversification of crops. That is a discussion that we have been having. Beyond the CWA, one of the discussions that we had earlier this year was changing from focusing on our main crops here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We know that we have the capacity to grow hundreds of thousands of watermelon annually. We know that we can with sweet potatoes. We know that we can, we have breadfruit trees everywhere. We know that these things are on island. How do we introduce new crops? How do we introduce new avenues to make money, or for our stakeholders to make money? And one of the things that we introduced, was the Tabasco pepper. That is part of the diversification in the sector. So we're looking forward to see that the fruits from that as well. And of course, we know that sometime later this year, the Tabasco pepper is something that you can keep your eyes on, Ian, because we're going to be reaping the benefits from that project.
And for those who may not be aware, the project involves us growing local Tabasco peppers to supply the McSheene company,
Yes.
which of course produces, and that's based in Louisiana.
In Louisiana, correct.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, so you touched on another point that I mentioned in terms of financing, in terms of how do you promote farming and fishing and businesses in an effort to gain investment as a part of this conference, the efforts that will be highlighted there during that CWA week here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
So you want me to
talk a bit about the promotion of those things and looking at not just the farming, but of course the agro-processing. It's a business. Looking at the marine aspect of it, it's a business. There are some persons who don't necessarily recognize them as businesses for such. But the importance of having those things and what support there may be, as you touched on the financing, coming out of CWA for persons engaged in these activities.
Yeah, so training is essential. And the training is essential because, as you say, many persons don't recognize
The ability.
Right, the ability, and they don't recognize agriculture as a business. And that expands beyond the persons in the sector. So if we are to make a change and fight to promote agriculture as a business, then it means then we have to start by training our farmers, fishers, or food producers the skills needed to be businessmen and women, right? Helping to educate them on value chains, how they would be affected, helping to educate our most important stakeholders on the best methods to market their products, from the packaging and the labeling, to the way they promote using social media, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Instagram. It is all a part of assisting our stakeholders so that they would be better business persons coming out of sessions like this.
And of course, that has been one of the aims of the Agriculture Open Day.
Yes.
That, of course, has been held in St. Kitts and Nevis for 30 years, quite a very long time. And let's shift our discussion to that now a bit. And Ms. McSheene, this is your baby, so to speak. You'll be able to contribute a bit more there. Now, talk to us, first of all, about it's being promoted as the Agriculture Open Day and Marine Expo. That's the first time I've heard Marine Expo added to it. Why? What's the rationale there?
You can talk on the Marine Expo. The Marine Expo.
You see how she likes to throw me in the soup here, but this is the first time they were actually calling it the
Marine
Agriculture
Expo.
Open Day and Marine Expo because we are rebranding this year. So one of the things that was discussed is the fact that we've always given agriculture all of the attention.
Spotlight.
And because agriculture has been getting the spotlight, we decided as a team that we're going to give that same shine to the marine sector. So the Department of Marine Resources, St. Kitts and Nevis, is working with the Department of Agriculture this year to make it the Agriculture Open Day and Marine Expo. Yes, so they're going to have their own section in the Agriculture Open Day event this time around.
And Ms. McSheene, when will it be held? Where will it be held?
Okay. The Agriculture Open Day will be held...
And the Marine Expo?
And Marine Expo, sorry. Will be held on the 2nd and the 3rd of October 2025 at the Valley Aquifer, the Royal Bastia Valley Aquifer.
For those persons who don't know, the Kim
Collins Highway. So the Open Day is a staple to the agriculture. We will be celebrating 30 years this year. So we're hoping to have a grand Open Day and Marine Expo. Also, during the Open Day, we would still have participants from the CWA on ground, so I'm sure most of them would also participate in the Open Day event. We have also had regional vendors who register to be a part of the event as well.
Is that the first time that we've had regional vendors registering?
Yes. It's mostly a local thing, local vendors who would register. We'll have, our local farmers, the cook food persons, grill persons, flowers arrangement, different sectors in St. Kitts, and Nevis, because we do have Nevis participants who come down and take part in the event.
Every year, right.
Yes.
Okay, so regional vendors, like in what areas?
Well, some of them would be, like for instance, during the Open Day, we will have the honey show. The OECS CARICOM honey show. So we have persons who would be coming in to participate in that event, where they would be displaying the honey, the combs, and I think they have a presentation as well that will be going on. That will be going on during the event. For what you was asking for regional, what
Yes,
they would
in terms of, you said regional persons.
Okay, some of them would be like just showcasing what they would do. We have persons who would be coming with like processed stuff that they may want to sell. You know, some countries big on their seasoning, the spices. So if they have them processed and they got the proper documentation in terms of import license and stuff to bring this stuff in, they can come in and participate.
Right. Ms. Flanders, it's not necessarily taking away opportunities from locals, but it seems like it's more so complementing. As you mentioned, the spices, I'm not sure we have persons here who do that.
We do. However, because you ask about the regional, I was just, because most of the times when we do get regional participants, they would tend to bring more like processed stuff. Because, to bring like fresh stuff, sometimes you have to look for storage and, different stuff. So it's easier to bring the processed stuff.
Yeah, well, the reason I mention it is because, of course, it's the Agriculture Open Day. It's persons who look at it as a local initiative. And there's some who may be concerned with saying that, there are persons from across the region who may come and bring in their products, their goods, their whatever products they may have. That would sort of more or less help to compete. There's some who may look at it that way, that it may be competing, on a showcase that is really a local showcase.
I don't think it would be so much of that, because we, like I say, most of our locals that we have registered are persons who mostly into cook food, the produce vendors, and we have a lot of kids zone persons, like with the bouncing castles and stuff like that. We have a lot of that going around. There's also persons, because I can recall one lady mentioned to me that she will be doing gravy browning, local made gravy browning. So, we do have local stuff which persons can get, and it's not so much of a competition, because their stuff would be more of powdered stuff. We do more, like fresh drinks, foods, dry foods,
I want to add to that and say that the introduction of the regional participants does not take away from the local presence.
No.
Because the truth is, the local presence remains strong, and I don't want
definitely,
to
but it's true.
And the truth is, when we have the integration of the regional participants, it draws a larger audience.
Yes.
And if our intent is to continuously improve and to grow the Agriculture Open Day now and Marine Expo, then we have to start thinking of more creative ways to grow and develop this particular event. So I like to think of it as a synergy as opposed to competition.
Yes.
Not only that, but what I find is the introduction of the regional participants, it expands the exposure to new markets.
Yes.
So having other persons there with their products does not take away from the fact that our products will also be on display.
I agree.
Right, and of course, having participants, delegates attending the CWA, it's a chance for them to see what we can offer.
Yes,
as well too.
Exactly.
Right, okay. And also, give us a sense then, of course, as we mentioned, that there's some culture involved. There's local food production, of course. We see how we prepare our meals. Then there are different ways that people do stuff across the region, but there are also some specific cultural performances that's going to be take place. Why do you need to include that?
I mean, let me tell you something. One of the things that I hear year after year, especially when it comes to the promotion of the Agriculture Open Day and Marine Expo, one of the things that I constantly hear is the involvement of the many bands and the lots of entertainment and the cultural performances. But let me ask you this. Is there agriculture without the culture?
Good question.
It's not possible.
It's not.
Yeah, it's intertwined in our DNA
Definitely.
as Caribbean people. Where there is food, there is music. Where there is enjoyment, we have drinks.
Entertainment.
So when you think about agriculture, don't just think about the food. Don't just think about the fish. Think of it as agriculture. What more do you need?
So that's part of the rebranding that you mentioned. It's an important part of the rebranding, right? Okay, that's
You can't have one without the other.
Right.
Okay. So what will be taking place? Things that families can get involved in, because that has always been one of the important aspects of the Open Day and now Marine Expo, to have families involved. What's going to be taking place that could entice our family members?
At the event, we will have different entities displaying the services that they may offer. Some of them would be showcasing, different ideas, the way they do stuff. Like, for instance, we talk a lot about food. We like to eat as well. And, we'll have persons cooking right there on the spot, doing grill stuff and what's not. And persons like that. For some reason, I've come across persons who come to St. Kitts and they taste some of our food and they're like, wow, food is good. So, St. Kitts, the event alone, it's a family thing. Bring the kids, everybody, they can come out. There will be something for each one. We'll also have activities where persons can participate, like the watermelon eating competition. We'll have that competition going on. We'll have different fun activities that both parents and kids can participate in. And like I said, there will also be lots of areas for the kids. There will be an area especially for the kids where they can go to the kids zone and have face painting and all them stuff. We'll have persons doing all of that.
No, Ms. Flanders, of course, persons from St. Kitts and Nevis over the past 30 years have really supported the showcase. And what role has community participation played in ensuring that the event remains vibrant, that it lasts for 30 years and perhaps another 30 years beyond that?
Well, I can tell you, just from experiencing the Agriculture Open Day as a child, in comparison from then until now, the growth has been exceptional.
Yes.
What amazes me is the fact that the first Agriculture Open Day started in 1994. If it started in 1994,
still going on.
It is still going and going strong.
Yes.
The persons who attend the Agriculture Open Day help to promote the Agriculture Open Day year after year, which tells us that we are doing exactly what we need to do to develop and improve this agricultural event on a national level. When I said the Agriculture Open Day started in 1994, the event started with the idea of selling more plants from the propagation unit so that persons can purchase plants there, whether it was flowers or fruit trees or the tea bush that we know we like to drink at mornings and sometimes at night. That is how it started. And we've moved beyond that to the overall event the successful event that we see today, 30 years later.
And so how would you say that the Open Day, as we talk about that community involvement and the community participation, because it's good to see these things while you are there, but also you want to promote behavioral change when persons go back to their communities, go back to their homes, so that they can start a little backyard garden where they can do some sort of a little storage of whatever products they may have, their vegetables and their produce. As you mentioned, waste is very important, and as we speak about the importance of climate change and global warming, of course, to my mind, fruits are growing a lot more scarce in terms of the season, seems shorter. Take, for instance, the mango season that we just had, and also they seem to ripen and spoil a bit more faster based on that. So how can the Agriculture Open Day be used to really promote backyard gardening and to facilitate small-scale marine and agro-processing activities?
Well, one of the things that I have noticed is the interest in the plants. The plants go first on day one. I can tell you because we see the lines forming immediately after the opening ceremony. As soon as the minister declares the event open, people rush to the section that has the plants so that they can purchase their fruit trees. And I think that is one of the most, the positive outcomes for me, because we can see the interest growing year after year, not just in the entertainment, but the fact that persons are becoming more and more interested in planting their own food in their backyards, and they're waiting for the Agriculture Open Day to be held just so that they would be able to purchase their fruit trees, their seedlings, whatever mulch is available from our stakeholders there. So we can see the difference. Another thing that I also realize is the impact on the children. I don't think the Agriculture Open Day impacts the adults the same way that it does for the children. And each year, schools look forward to this staple agricultural event. And that is because this event, like I said, is more than the entertainment. It is educational. And so once the schools are bringing the children and the children are showing the interest and the interest increases, it means then we're doing exactly what we need to do year after year by introducing the career opportunities in agriculture to them so that they would know these are the options that they have, right? We know we need doctors, we know we need lawyers, but we also need veterinarians. These events like the Agriculture Open Day help to educate them at this level.
And for the first time, there is a patron for the Agriculture Open Day and Marine Expo. Tell us about that.
Yes, we do. We have a patron.
Yes.
We do have a patron, and I am so happy. I know, Millie, you might want to add a little 2 cents in here, but let me first start by saying congratulations to Dr. Jerome Thomas, CSM, because Dr. Thomas was recently named one of the recipients of the Companion of the Star of Merit. And then briefly, right after, he was also revealed as the patron of the 30th Agriculture Open Day and Marine Expo. And I had the pleasure of speaking to Dr. Thomas, who sounds just as vibrant as he has throughout the years. And he is extremely, extremely grateful. And, you know, he mentioned the witnessing the growth of the sector over the years. And we're so excited that we do have a patron this time around.
Yes. The idea was a committee idea. We had a meeting, and we thought, since we are celebrating 30 years, and we want to do it big, why not, honor the person who initiated the Agriculture Open Day. And one of the committee members whispered to me, it's Dr. Jerome Thomas. And I was like, okay. So, I went ahead and I put it to the director. It went to the PS. It went up the chain where it's supposed to go, and it was accepted and approved.
Unanimous decision all around.
All around. All around. And, I'm very pleased. I've never met Dr. Jerome, because he would have left agriculture by the time I joined the team. But I'm actually excited that we're able to do this in his honor, because 30 years later, and it's still going.
And it's still growing.
And growing, because as Ms. Flanders would have said, when the kids come to the agriculture open day during school, when they leave school, they still look forward to it, to the open day, even though they're not students now, they're adults. They still look forward to coming to our agriculture open day. So
what's his role as a patron? What it basically does it mean he just shows up and waves to the crowd?
We're looking to have a little bio on him, and have someone do a little bio on him, and we present him with a plaque.
Okay, well, that's something new. Is that going to be an annual feature, or is it just for the 30th celebration?
Well, I'm hoping we could continue with, if not Dr. Thomas, somebody else along the line of, the years of open day, but we start somewhere, and we start with Dr. Thomas.
So that's the importance of having a patron. Does that help with the marketing, the selling of agriculture and the different activities involved in marine resources, etc.?
Well, of course, Ian, if you're talking about someone who was just named as the recipient of the Companion of the Star of Merit,
right.
It's no better than that. It tells you that the standard is getting higher. So just now you may not be able to afford me on this set because I work in agriculture.
Well, I'll keep that in mind. So before we leave, because we have just about under 5 minutes left, for someone who has never attended the Agriculture Open Day and now Marine Expo, why is this the year that they need to attend?
30 years. And as we say, we are growing and still growing. So I would say, there's a lot to see and even to participate in. So this year is going to be grand. We are doing 30 years in style, even the displays and everything. I encourage persons to come out and, view the different displays. And words can explain how excited we are for our annual 30th anniversary of Agriculture Open Day. So if we are this excited, there has to be a lot going on, a lot of important stuff going on, and we encourage persons to come and be a part of it.
Flanders?
Be a part of it.
Well, to end off on that note, Ian, I'm sure Millie can attest to the fact that we've both had our first time attending the Agriculture Open Day. We've grown used to it because we're working now in it. But when I think back to the time where I had no idea what that event was, I think about what I would tell my younger self if I were to encourage my parents or anyone around me to attend the Agriculture Open Day. Why this year? As Millicent stated, this is our 30th anniversary. And the whole idea is to showcase the best in agriculture as part of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture, the 19th edition of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture, which means that you are getting the best of both worlds during the same week. We don't know when we would ever get this again. So we're encouraging persons to attend, not just by looking on and seeing what's happening through pictures or what persons are posting online, but we're encouraging you to come because we want you to experience it for yourself. You be the one to tell that story.
Yes.
No one should be telling the story for you.
And just a quick reminder, that would be at the Royal Valley National Park on the 2nd and the 3rd of October. The times?
Yes.
The times?
9 a.m.
9 a.m. to 11 on Thursday and 9 a.m. to midnight on Friday.
Okay, all right.
And we'll have the big bands and everything. So
persons, of course, can.
And of course, we still have the children in uniform attending
yes.
for free. Those who are wearing their own clothes, they pay $5.
$10.
And then the adults
pay $15.
Okay, so something to look forward to, and of course more information will be available on the Facebook page of the department and certain social media platforms. And of course you'll be continuously out there doing the rounds as well to ensuring that persons are aware about it. Ms. Flanders and Ms. McSheene, thank you so much for joining us for this edition of InFocus.
Welcome.
We'd like to thank you viewers and listeners for joining us for this edition as well. We trust that you'll join us next week at the same place, at the same time for another edition of InFocus. Remember, it's your government, your business. I'm Ian Richards.
Join us every Wednesday for InFocus, a weekly talk show produced by the St. Kitts Nevis Information Service, where we provide exclusives with key persons within the government and discuss pertinent, relevant, and interesting matters that affect us all. Tune in every Wednesday, live on ZIZ Radio and streamed live on Facebook at SKNIS Media and ZIZ Online. InFocus, your government, your business.